In this video, we're going to try and get permission to fly in a no-fly zone. I stay in an area that's right next to an airport, which has a 5-mile exclusion zone, which makes it quite difficult to fly. So I'm going to see how I go about trying to get permission to fly in this area so I can take some film of some of the local landmarks. So I think the next stop is, we're at the airport. Is there somewhere at the airport I can get permission to fly my drone? Now you might have seen the previous clip, it's way too windy to fly the drone. It's blowing a hoolie. So I don't think I'm going to fly in it today, but I'm wondering, can I go to air traffic control and ask the process of flying a drone in the area? Now, as you might have gathered, I'm not trying to fly at the airport, I'm trying to fly at some of the local landmarks, like my local football team stadium, which is kind of close by, but not quite on the flight path. So follow me, we'll go and see if we can speak to air traffic control. Hiya. So we went looking for air traffic control. Now, as it turns out, they're way within the airfield, so we had no chance of getting to reception for them. But as we're driving back to the spot that we had taken the intro clip for, there was actually a security car parked at that spot. So I thought, I'll just chance my arm and go out and speak to that security chap and see if he can give me a hand on how to fly my drone in the no-fly zone. Now this chap was really helpful, and we had a great 15-minute chat. That's why this clip's really fast forwarded with a voiceover. Really helpful. However, the nuts and bolts of it was that I needed to phone air traffic control in order to get permission. So I wasn't going to stand a chance to actually get to speak to them in person. I had to phone. So that's what we ended up doing. Anyway, thanks. Cheers. Appreciate your time. So you can see here, there's a no drone zone here at the airport. I was hoping it was going to provide me with some more information on who to contact to actually fly my drone not near the airport. I'm obviously not going to fly at the airport. So with no luck contacting anyone at air traffic control at the airport, I thought I'd return back to my base and do a bit more Googling online to try and get some more information. So one of the first Google results is a Police Scotland article here, which, to not read it out in full, there's a key point here that I think's probably pertinent, which is every airport and airfield is protected by a flight restriction zone. However, operators cannot fly a drone in this airspace without permission of the airfield operator and air traffic control. So yeah, that seems to suggest that we need two forms of consent there from those two folk, the airfield operator and the air traffic control team. Reading further, it would suggest that it's probably wise to notify the police that you are flying in the area, so if they get any phone calls, they're aware. Now, like I say, I'm not planning to fly at the airport, but I'm in the zone of the airport, and for the most part, not many planes fly over the areas I'm looking at, so that's the first thing. So that was a generic Police Scotland thing. Now, I couldn't really find too much on Glasgow Airport's website, but on Glasgow Prestwick Airport, which is nowhere near me, they have a lot more clear instructions, which pretty much here they've got a section called permissions. And it basically seems to suggest that in their case, you need to get a police incident reference number by contacting Police Scotland 101. Then contact Glasgow Prestwick's Air Traffic Control Unit, confirm the details and incident number given from Police Scotland. We will then coordinate the drone flight alongside the air traffic operations. Inquiries should be sent to our team using our contact form. Permissions will only be granted at the discretion of Police Scotland and or ATC. So in Glasgow Prestwick, it seems relatively clear that the permissions start from Police Scotland and then they subsequently will give you permission. when I tried looking for Glasgow Airport drone flying, nothing comes up in a Google search. It just goes back to Glasgow Prestwick. And when I scroll down, there was nothing really there that would suggest any help with flying drones. So if I now go on the Glasgow Airport website, use the search bar drone, there doesn't really seem to be anything there with how to contact them regarding flying a drone that I can see. So I'm not really sure what process to follow. Now, I'd hazard a guess that this is probably the likely process, that it'll be similar to Glasgow Prestwick's, which is contact police, get a reference number, phone air traffic control. However, what I'm going to do is try phone air traffic control to get what they need in order to allow me to fly my drone in the vicinity. So what I've done is went onto the NATS website, and for the airport, you can see here, Glasgow Airport, that's it there. You can see there, the circle that goes around it pretty much covers off, I think, Scotland's biggest town of Paisley for the most part. So you can't film anything in Paisley without getting permission. So I thought to myself, that's the purpose of this video. Let's see how we can get on. So you can see here on the NATS website, they seem to suggest that you only need authority by the relevant air traffic service unit or aerodrome operator. This seems to conflict with the police, which were saying you need the airfield operator and air traffic control. As you can see, it's already a wee bit conflicting. So for contact details, see this area. So I dug that out, section 2.2, and it's got all the contact details for Glasgow Airport. So I'm not really sure which one of these to phone. So this is saying air traffic service unit. Why don't we start with NATS? We'll give them a call. Let's see what they've got to say.
That's Glasgow.
Hiya, I was wondering if you'd help me. This is a bit of a random one. I've got a small drone and I'm just looking what the process is to fly the drone in Paisley.
If it's in Paisley, that generally falls within the flight restriction zone we've got, so you need to file a non-standard flight application for that.
Are you able to advise on how I do that? Or is there a reference sheet in your website or anything I can follow?
Yeah, so if you go on nats.aero, there's a section on airspace and then a subsection for drones and non-standard flights. And then if you just go into that section, it just basically asks you for all the relevant information, what drone it is, where you're operating, and then it comes through to us in the tower, and then we'll look at it and approve it if we can.
Well, that was a very helpful chap. So, I've got a wee bit of work to do when I replay the audio for this, to then see what the form and application he was talking about was about. So, I think, loosely from what I gather, they need Police Scotland incident number and air traffic control. I think that, for me, looks like what is required. I think they'd have mentioned if I needed the airport operator. I'm assuming they might be operating on behalf of them. So I think I'm okay in that regard. So we followed that chap's advice and we went to nsf.nats.aero and we're looking to file a non-standard flight application. So our one, not looking to do a parachute drop, will be a drone and model aircraft submission. So I've already kind of started to populate it here. So it comes up like this. So you can see all the airports, the cover there, and the one I'm looking for is Glasgow Airport. So we've put in tomorrow's date, maximum height of operations. Now I've put 262 feet, which is 80 metres. I'm trying to give myself a bit of wiggle room. I'm not sure if I'm maybe going to shoot myself in the foot by going that high, but we can always try. In terms of flight path, all I've done is really take a Google map and put it around the stadium that I'm looking to circle around. So that's what I'll attach shortly. And additional information, who knows if this is actually what they're looking for, but I've put in the type of drone, the purpose, so filming St Mirren Football Club Stadium, recreational filming, so it's not commercial. Expected time of flight, morning, expected duration, 15, in fact I'll change that to 20 minutes. Flight path, just circling the stadium, one street surrounding it. Height, 80 metres. I'll change that to just circling. Height, 80 metres. Flyer and operator ID. I'll put them in after this, so it's not, my details aren't public. And I've just tried to put happy to adjust anything to suit the needs of the airport or the controllers. So I'm hoping that kind of shows that I'm happy to kind of basically do as they tell me. Location, Glasgow Airport. Airspace radius. So this is on this map, you can kind of choose where you want to film. So I've zoomed out from where it is just now, just to kind of show you how much of Paisley is covered by that flight restriction. But I guess it also shows you how close to the flight path I probably am, which is a wee bit concerning. So for my first application, I might be pushing my luck. So if we zoom in a wee bit, and zoom in, you can see how close it is there. And that's the stadium right there. So I'm looking to just kind of maybe stand about there, do a circle round, and then, take some shots. So I think one of the things I'm doing here is you can adjust this radius meters to something different. So I'm going to try and maybe do 400, see what that looks like. That seems alright, maybe 350. I'm trying to push my luck to maybe get as far away from that flight path up at the top corner. I'll go 300. I think that's probably about realistic to what my flight plan was I submitted. I kind of said about like that. I don't think I'm going anywhere near that there actually, but we'll try. So I'll cut this back in once I've inserted my operator and flyer ID, and we'll see what the next page has to offer. So on the next detail, which is the flight details. Now, I thought I'd just show you this on camera. I'm not going to fill out all the details and show you it, just because there's a couple of things that are very personal details. So it'll ask you what your type is it a drone, model aircraft, the model, serial number, remote ID, colour markings, category, open or specific. So I'll need to do a wee bit more. So it tells you here, not above 400 feet, less than 25 kilograms, so that's probably fair. So yeah, I think I'd be open, so I'm not going to go above 400 feet. And then purpose of flight, I think we'd just go filming photography. It has, I guess, I'm not sure how it works. If it was for maybe some of the other categories, it might be more likely to be approved potentially, but I'll be honest and say it's for there. I've maybe already said that in the previous page. And then it's asking for the operator details, address, email address, contact details, point of contact in the day, telephone number, email address. I mean, it all seems fairly fair to be fair in my opinion. So in this latest update, we've received an approval in principle from my flight request, which, to be fair, I got a response in less than an hour, which was pretty good. I've deliberately shared not all the details to not expose different contact details and whatnot. But yeah, that seems fairly straightforward, and I'll keep you posted on tomorrow. So it's the next day, and what I'm going to do is follow the instructions from NATS, which is get an instant number from the police. So let's give them a bash on 101.
Thank you for calling Police Scotland. So we can direct your call, please select one of the following options. If you are calling about a missing person appeal or an appeal on Police Scotland social media, press 1. If you have a custody inquiry, press 2. If you have previously reported something to the police and would like an update, press 3. To speak to us about anything else, press 4.
4. Hi, I was wondering if you can help me. I've got a approval in principle to fly a drone in a no-fly zone from air traffic control. However, they've advised me to contact yourselves to get an instant number before flying.
Yep.
So I was just kind of looking to go through that process. This is my first time doing it.
No worries.
In a bid to condense this part of the clip, I'm going to list out all the things that the police asked me for in this phone call so that you're prepared for the call if you do decide to make it yourself. So they asked for the stuff you'd expect: name and address, where was I flying, is it on behalf of anyone, rough street names of where it would be, the purpose of the drone flight, the reg and colour of my car. I was a wee bit surprised by that one, to be fair. Have I already got permission from air traffic control? What was the flight plan reference number? When did I intend to fly it? When did I plan to stop flying it? The make and model of the drone. They then proceeded to read out like a generic script. Now, I've already phoned them after this video recording a few times, and it's the same thing. So they read out this wee script. I'll just read it for you so you know what to expect. You'll be supplied with a police instant number. However, Police Scotland cannot provide permission for any flight to take place. The responsibility for the safe and legal flight of any aircraft is that of the pilot and the operator. Permission to fly can only be obtained from the Civil Aviation Authority. So that is all the information that the police requested from me. Now, that is over a couple of phone calls. There is some tweaks. They seem to ask for different things depending on the operator, but for the most part, it's generally the same. I think this also clears up the point earlier of, I think it's only the police I need permission from and the Civil Aviation Authority. So they give you that reference number, and then when you phone on the day of flying, you then give that to air traffic control. So now we've got the instant number, let's phone NATS, the air traffic control, back on the number they gave us yesterday.
NATS Glasgow.
So once you've phoned the police for your instant number, you then phone back air traffic control roughly half an hour to an hour before you plan to fly, and they're going to ask you a few questions. So, have you phoned the police? So, yes, you give them the instant number. What height do you plan on going? And the rough timings and your phone number to contact you with. They'll then put you on standby for 30 seconds to a minute, and then they'll read you a generic statement. Very similar to the police in that you're getting generic statements. So their one is a wee bit longer. It says you are permitted to enter the flight restricted zone remaining within the stated operating area of your non-standard flight approval. The flight is required to take place in accordance with the open category requirement. You're responsible for avoiding any risk of collision with any manned aircraft and discontinue the flight, whereby continuing it may pose a risk to any other aircraft, people, animals, environment or property. So once you do that, they'll normally just say you're okay to fly. So far, I've not had an issue. I've done this twice now, but I guess I'll try and maybe do an update if there is ever is a time where I'm told not to fly. In true Scottish fashion, you saw me yesterday wearing a jacket, getting blown off my feet with the wind, to now today, it's really sunny and I've got my sunglasses on. This is what we're dealing with when we fly drones in Scotland. So the first thing I've noticed when I've got the drone remote controller on, now that we're in the area that I'm looking to film at, which is in the no flight zone, so we're at St Mirren Stadium, it says aircraft in enhanced warning zone, fly with caution. And then it's got continue flight with confirmation checklist. I agree to assume full responsibility for flying in this area. And then it's got like a code that says it's in Glasgow enhanced warning. So on the screen recording this, I'll show it on the screen and I'm hitting confirm. So I think that then allows us to fly the drone. So let's give it a bash. So the weather's a bit nicer than what it was the other day. Let's get this bird in the air, as I would say. Now there is a few seagulls kicking about, so I'm a wee bit nervous.
Home point updated.
Also got a nice wee look there out that car. So we'll go 4K 60 frames per second. I think I said the maximum height I was going to go to was about 80 metres. I think they said up to 400 feet to be fair, but we'll try this. So let's see how we... Let's see, hope we don't get attacked by seagulls. So yeah, that's a cool shot of the stadium, I'd say. So we're just above the family stand, looking onto the north stand out at the far end. Then on the left we've got the west stand, which we may or may not have a season ticket, and then we've got the main stand on the right. So that is pretty cool. If I look up on the screen there, you can kind of see in the distance we've got a wee bit, that's probably where planes would start to be taking off. That's the airport just over there, so you can kind of see why there's a wee bit of a flight restriction zone about here. As you can see, there's a fair few seagulls kicking about, so I'm trying not to be too long in the air. So focusing back on the stadium, there we go.